it's me, Bradley again. Right now, I'm playing Skylines 2, and I'm just kind of making this short unscripted video just to talk about some of the things I've been thinking about with the game, and kind of maybe some areas for improvements. And when I'm talking about that, I'm mostly talking about just partly I guess the main thing here is I'm going to be building a lot of it. So, you see, the city here, Duckworth, is getting pretty big by most standards. It's also losing money because of a bug, basically. Yeah, so the issue with the taxes. The bug is making it so that you... Yeah. Yep. No longer losing money. Yeah. I don't know why the industrial taxes have been going weird like that. It's happened for a bunch of people playing the game. And now it's back going positive like normal. So as you can see, the city has got a very large urban area here. And right now, and it's gotten very big, and and also, the game is running pretty slow now since it's so big. And honestly, I'm feeling fairly satisfied with how the city is right now. And because of that, I kind of wanted to finish it up. So, what I'm working on right now is building a sort of ring of suburbs, farms, and industry around it, so that it looks a little bit more natural, and not of just this huge, big block of like high-rises and mid-rises in the center. Because most of these have like, a lot of like suburbs to like borderline rural area just falling off. At least in the U.S. and Europe and a lot of those places. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. Just sort of how suburbs are, sort of what I'm doing to like build these suburbs, and kind of a few gripes I have with the game in its current state and how it handles building like suburban areas. So so I think, okay, I have some industry I have been expanding out my industry here. Yeah, I should probably mention that the industrial suitability thing is bugged too, because the tax, as we all know, the land value is influenced by the level of the buildings that you have there, and also influenced by services and stuff, but it is not influenced by pollution. It's like here. Yep. This industrial park, which is, to be clear, all very heavily polluted. Totally, it's very expensive land value-wise. Like, this is almost the same land value as like the actual like urban core of like the city. Why is the observation tower of that national whatever? But anyways, that's kind of an issue with the game. Although, interestingly, there are some ways you can kind of bring the land value down, like specialized industry fields here actually have a pretty big downward effect on land value. So, just placing an event of specialized industry and interspersing your industrial zoned areas with the industry can help. We also have an issue of high resource costs. And I'm always wondering, would it be... Perhaps I should actually add a... So let me go to here. I just realized I have a cargo terminal here, but I never thought to actually build like... make a cargo airport line. Where do I want to do it from? There. Start here. Okay, just give me a second. I've never done cargo airport line, so yeah, I think you put it here. Actually, perhaps I'm not seeing this right. Let me just change this. Here, I'm going to change the color on these so I can actually tell them apart. That way. Huh. Oh, and apparently you have two different choices of like passenger airplanes. Yep. What's the slightly different one look like? I'll check first here in a while and see if they change. Anyways, so I'm gonna put this here. Yeah. Oh, it does work. Good. Now we're going to be getting cargo in from there, and that might be useful since we have a bunch of farms here, which could ship any surplus directly out there. We also have this part of the city here, and that's also this is all right next to the highway system. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Back to business. I did kind of, so let's talk about something like this. So I did just put down sort of a star hero that I'm going to talk about later, and I think that you want to do two things here. First, let's build some more. Let's build. Let's build just some extension to this road, so that it can link up and deliver cargo from there. so since there's going to be continuous flow like things, and that should be appropriate. And this ought to be a good place to build like a new sort of suburban. So what I'm going to do is move this district a little bit so that we have this whole place covered. Now I'm just going to build like the first burger. Now here's the thing. How the zoning is laid out sort of affects a lot on how your buildings will look. And I found that I really like to get a specific sort of look. That's where you need the buildings to be 3 units deep on lots, or less than 3 units deep. So here, and I don't really want, well, grids are good for some places. I don't really want a perfect one here. So what I've done is I've turned off all the snapping, except snap to existing geometry. And now I'm just going to bring it so that when you have that this road goes just to the edge of like the zoning line here. And we're going to bring this here. And so, as you can see in this part, it's actually like split between the two sides. And I'm going to keep doing that.
A driving advisory has been issued for the immediate area due to poor road conditions. Please exercise caution if you must drive and try to stay off the streets until conditions improve. This has been a local public service announcement.
What kind of future does music have if it doesn't look to its past? Well, I say the question speaks for itself. Here on Second Moon, we know you can't move forward unless you keep both eyes steadily trained on what's behind you.
Local stargazers are in for a real treat tonight, as the aurora borealis is expected to light up the night sky.
That's right, Jim. Don't forget to look up this evening. It promises to be quite a sight. A housing shortage is driving up prices in the area.
That's right, Glenda. But apparently that's not all.
And so
good
I'm going
news.
to track some pedestrian paths through here.
Professor Nutbutter.
Welcome, Professor. So
Because
a housing
because they don't
shortage
want-
is
because they
bad
want
for
to
people
act
trying
as-
to move here, right?
Humans
Kind
are
of something that I
programmed
do-
to
that I
desire
want to have-
certain representations
I don't want to have
using
through
ideological
traffic, but I do
rewards
want to
structure,
have good
which are
connectivity
entirely
for
apart from the
pedestrians who are going
actual
through here.
rewards enjoyed. For example, consider capital.
One final question, Professor. Is the housing shortage going to make me richer?
By certain metrics, perhaps yes, in the short term.
I like the sound of that.
But what we are discussing is the study of a statistical abstraction and its effect on the human
Thank you, Professor.
It is a question of priority.
That didn't really work. That makes me think. Any things or buildings? Nothing. Yeah, I guess it's fine how it is. Look, so daylight is coming back. Now I'm going to add some greenery with the street trees. Small and pretty, but in. Just sum it up, I'll put in just maybe one small part here. And now we can put in the zoning. So for this one, I liked it. So for this one, I think the best in general is going to be the European low density housing theme, especially with less than 2. I mean less than 4. That's these it's really possible to get like get it exactly how you want. All of these are going to be more than 3, and that's just something you can't accept. I do like the free ride North American like residential though. So I will try and actually selectively use that one for a few of these places. That's fine. I'm just gonna add like a bit of like medium density here. Now since it's like so late in the game, this will take a while to load. And it'll get built. So I want to talk a little bit about the sort of different styles, the 2 different styles you have for housing, and just especially low density housing, and kind of my issue with how the assets in the game right now. So first off, let's talk about the North American style, style low density. So the North American style low density. So find a good bit of things I've done recently. I'm going to just hang a look around here for some of the NA low density. But like, I don't know if I have so much that's done recently. Okay, so yeah, this might take a minute. I could just go into the building level to find what I want. Okay, so first things first. Okay. Oh yeah, we have some of the NA load into the year. Yeah, so let's start off this, so first of all, I want to talk about the buildings that will grow when you're more than 3 units wide, because if you are trying to maximize like the zoning area and aren't really paying attention to like the anything else, then you're going to get a lot of those. This is the one that spawns on 2 wide lots from 4 that are 4 to 6 units deep. And this is designed that, and this design for the NA is one that first starts out as a single wide trailer home. Then it'll turn it. Then what'll happen is that then it stays like that for levels 1 and 2. Then at level 3, it becomes a double wide trailer home. And it'll stay like that for level 4. And then it's going to reach its final form. And let me just verify those. And it's going to be like, and when it's done, and at level 5, it's going to look like one of these, which is different. Yeah, so I'll just kind of the simple, yeah, and that's kind of where we get to my first issue. So I've heard people complaining that a lot of the assets right now look too poor, like that they're not fit, like that they look something like that they all look too small, that they're too look cheap, and they don't look like normal American maps. And I don't really get that concern. Like, I do kind of understand what they mean in the sense that these don't look like sort of, they do look like sort of lower income like developments, but I don't necessarily think that's do I think that's a problem? Not really. I honestly kind of do like the look of these. Yeah, they might not be the typical American style, but they look like the sort of thing that has like a very good has a place. But here's the problem with the NA thing. So, I like the model for levels 1 and 2. It's like it's not like, I wouldn't say it's the most common like mobile home design I've seen. Like most of them are like most of the single wides still have like a 2-part roof, not just like a one like slanted one. But it didn't look like, but it's still something that looks like some I've seen. And I could, if I like saw this out somewhere, yeah, I wouldn't bat an eye at it. It looks nice, and it looks nice. And I guess that's the reason why it's always like the one side, so that it can transition more nicely into this one. Yeah, and I like these sort of designs too. They do actually remind me of like a lot of like mobile homes I've seen here, and like at least, and when I mean here, I mean just in North Carolina. Yeah, is it like fancy? Is it like fancy? Not really, but I don't think it looks poor. I mean, it looks just like any other house you'd see, sort of like in a rural or ex-urban area. It's kind of, and there are some things I do kind of like about these, like the way that they're raised almost sort of reminds me of some places that you'll see in like North Carolina, where it's near sort of occasionally flooding areas, and basically and that looks, and I do think I kind of like that, because if these were the ones of houses that you get, then, and I was trying to make like an area for NC, then then these would work good. But so here's the thing. I like the first one you get, I like the one you get for level 3 and 4. And then I do not like this like style. Yeah. I don't like it at all. I do, and the thing is, I do kind of see what they're going for. It's got sort of like, it's got like the slanted roof,
This is
similar
Second
dimensions
Wind Radio,
to
classical for modern age.
the other ones.
Unlike most modern music, classical has always been penned by someone.
Yeah, it's got like this sort of like same size, and you can see that it has sort of a similar shape. So I can kind of see how you can like get in that in a sense of progression, but it does not have the same feel. Like you can tell, like I think you can tell what I mean. For the single wide double wide trailers, you could look at them and they look almost very similar in construction. Like the sort, like you would like if you. Like you'd probably think that the similar materials were used, and if it, and it does in terms of like how you'd expect for like an urban rest, it does look sort of like like they're slightly improving in terms of like the wealth and like well-being of the residents. But this just looks too different. The other ones would work fine in sort of like a lower income community if you wanted to make something that was based off that. But this looks way too fancy. It's got like I can see stone like materials here, and it's got these have these kind of weird windows that that don't really look like any of these of the ones here at all. You've got, and actually, wait, where's the door on this one? Where's the door? Okay, I guess for this one you go around, you go in here, I guess you're supposed to go around here. There's no front door. And we also have a guy, James Rojas, sitting outside in the rain. And I now remember that the citizens make noises when you poke them. Which I guess is sort of a fun thing, although if you look at the current page on the Steam Workshop for what you have citizen assets for City Skylines 1, I am not looking forward to seeing what sort of noises people will start making for their custom sins. Let's just put it that way. Okay. So that's sort of the complaint here. These ones look like these ones don't look like they could go, don't look generic, but they look nice to me in that they have like a certain place. But if you're trying to build sort of like if you're trying to like get a place with that sort of rural extra vibe, yeah, then what'll happen is that, or like trailer parks, then what'll happen is that they'll look fine at first, but then when they get to level 5 they'll grow into these, and then they're not going to look like they fit at all. And so that's my issue with the main 2 wide for the NA theme. So I should probably, so now let's talk about what spawns when you have less than 2 wide, then you have 2 wide but less than 4 for the NA theme. You get this sort of house. Now I'm just going to take a second to find or actually I'll just make a couple examples of these. It'll take them a little bit to zone in. Well, and if I can find them, then yeah, this is the too wide, less than 4, this is the too wide, less than 4 entry for for the North American housing plan. It starts out like, this. You can see here that this looks a little like a mobile home. This still looks kind of like a mobile home. But it has an issue but it looks very, very small. Oh. Here we go into the game. Wow. But there's no sim miles for those. So this is very, very small. This is, even for like a trailer home, this seems a lot smaller than you'd expect. And at least well, you could have homes installed, but they wouldn't have like this sort of fixed looking construction. They'd probably just look like actual looking like actual mobile trailers for those. And it does seem but I guess this is okay just for it. But this isn't necessarily the weirdest thing. So then you have what this one is going to grow into at level 3 or 3 to 5. This building is kind of interesting because it's like the other one that it still looks like a growth of the other one. It almost feels weird in that it's got an interesting design. So you see it has this huge so it's got like this huge window in the front, which is pretty unusual, I guess. And although the doors in the back look doors these, and they've got two doors here. It almost kind of makes you wonder just what the internal layout of this thing is. And also a ladder up onto the roof. Huh. It just seems like it's just somewhat of an odd design. I mean, I don't know why you just want such a big window right over there, and why would you need two doors? Like, wait, is there a reason you have two doors right next to each other and not one over here on this side? It almost has this weirdly modern but also very cheap look to it. Yeah. So now let's find. But I don't think that one is necessarily too bad either. It's not as good as the other one. So let's find an example of what that one is going to become at the highest level. So just take a minute. Yeah. That's it. That's not it. Yeah, apologies for the little cuts in here. I should probably turn on developer mode so I could like just place one of these if I wanted to. I'm sure we'll find one of them in seconds. Yes. Oh, I thought I saw one of them around here. So, to talk about what it grows into is also another very modern looking also a lot like the other one that's a super modern looking design. And it has just sort of the same issue in that regard. And it's not too much of an issue because I can't see if I actually have any of those around. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't seem to find it right. I can't seem to find any of that one right there. So. Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna skip over that one. But anyways, yeah, the other one is going to be going to have like the same as the other one, and it's going to have like the same issue. And so let's talk about what so let's talk about what the NA free wide is going to look like. Here we have an example of the NA free wide. This is a fairly normal looking mobile home. I'd say this looks a little bit nicer than, this one kind of looks a little bit nicer than the level 1 2 wide mobile home. I should note that for the free wide, for the American theme, it's always going to have like the same building model. It's always going to have the same like building model, regardless of like regardless of how deep the zoning grade is. Like if it's two deep or the 6 deep, it's going to have the same same sort of main building model. The only thing that changes is like the surroundings. So it starts out like this. And then it's going to have, and then there's like a couple looks that it may have when it grows. If it's like, so here's an example. So if it's like 2 to 3 deep, then a level 3 is going to become this sort of house. And I sort of like this house. It's sort of like a ranch type house, sort of like a ranch style house, although kind of a little bit more complicated. It's got a nice it's got an attached carport here, and it does look pretty, and I think that does have it does look a little bit. The windows do look kind of unusual for like an urban home, but I think it fits fairly good. And let's find another example here. And if it's 4 deep, and if it's like 4 to 6 deep, then you get this style of house. This is sort of like I think it's supposed to be sort of like a California bungalow style home. You have where you've got and I think this is actually one of the probably among the, and this, like the other one, this is among the better looking ones. This especially fits sort of in. I think this actually does work a little bit well with like sort of like the lower income. Also works for a lot for like the lower income areas, more like towards like the near like an urban area, because this is sort of kind of the sort of design that was very like this sort of bungalow design that was very popular historically, and so it's going to be common for lots of older houses. Most of those are going to be like smaller house types, so more affordable, and it's coming across all sorts of places in the U.S. So I think this is a thing that works very good in my opinion. And at level 5, it's going to become a house like this. And this is good. This is almost one of the most typical looking like houses for the U.S. Especially for like a more higher income like suburban area. You got pretty much everywhere. You got just sort of you got a yard. You've got sort of a big porch. You can see like a couple of bedroom windows. You've got an attached garage, and with a floor over it. This is pretty much like, this is just the sort of thing that going to pop up on Google search if you start searching for homes in a place, because that's the sort of thing that just people like. Or at least it's the thing that looks really good. good if you're looking at it. It also got, you can also tell the kind of like sort of eclectic style, as opposed to where it's just sort of a mix of like elements and like a lot of suburbs. And then as opposed to this thing here, which is pretty minimalist, and also this here, which has the sort of craftsman style, if you get what that is. And these, well, this is just like the modernist style that almost just looks way too fancy. So, but yeah. I'm putting these in duckworth money falling, even though it's not really falling right now because I don't know what to do with the money bag. But it's not causing any issues right now, so I guess I'll just keep watching it. So now let's talk about the American 4-wide. So this is going to be a little... Now, I guess it'll probably help here if I just zone some of the zone of 4-wide. Oh. And I guess I'll have to zone a bunch here just to like, until I get one that's on a 4 that actually goes to be 4. Yeah. This game can be a bit uncooperative. Right. Okay. Yeah, so I'm probably gonna just look for a minute to find one. Building levels. So, can't remember off the top of my head what so the so the NA style 4-wide house is this not really much to talk about because it's just a very blocky, so it's kind of like a 1-story square shaped home. Like we have here. This is the American 4-wide. It's got a flat roof, full square shaped with a carport, with a integrated carport. You have kind of wraparound porch here on the front, and it looks sort of, and I think it's a little bit unusual in that you don't see this thing in that it looks sort of like a manufactured home. I don't think I've ever really seen this sign, but it doesn't look too unusual. So I guess that's one that you can make it work. And at level, and when you get to level 3 to 5, this is what it's going to grow into. And being honest, I do kind of like this one that is one that doesn't really looks like it has any. Or it's hard to figure. It doesn't look normal house, but it looks kind of honestly very fancy in my opinion. Like you got this whole like walk up, this whole sort of stairway port, grand entrance stairway ports, guy hanging out in the middle, hanging out like in the rain for some reason, and that's closed attached garage. Got some fire. Give me a second. Oh, I didn't lose it. I'll find it. Yeah. Whoops. Always a check there. And now this building is abandoned. Why is it abandoned? Everything says it's positive. So I don't really know. Yeah, we have another one of these here, and it does really look it does really have sort of this fancy vibe to it for some reason. You got, yeah, on the level 4 you've got like a pool here. Pretty good. It is for. So now let's find what. So it does sort of still have the issue that it doesn't look like it. So that it doesn't really blend in very well because it doesn't because but I guess you can sort of see it in like a newer construction, maybe just a few of those as like more expensive houses, probably built more probably around a lot of houses that just look more normal, just sort of as like the rich person's house. Then we get this one. This is weird. It's got that same modernist sort of style to it, and this one is just. I think this one looks hideous. Like, I think this I don't know how to say this, but you know, Fandom Wiki that the online wiki that has tons of crap ads and basically lags your computer so much. The one that pushes a video to autoplay every time you're like a game where the video will just turn on audio like out of nowhere, and you'll have that blaring in the background. The wiki that's getting abandoned by a ton of people because it's just such a dumpster fire now, and now it's basically trying to just screw with like people for leaving. When I see this house, I imagine this is where the CEO of that company lives. I don't know any way other than to put it. That's just how I feel. Yeah, I know it's weird, but I don't think it's entirely bad, but it just has that sort of vibe where it just doesn't blend in well. And I guess the problem here is that if you're zoning, unless you're like specifically, that if you're just like zoning around, if you're just like zoning MSA, then you're gonna get a lot, then you're gonna start out with buildings that look sort of normal, like they could be in like a lower income like a sort of town with just medium, yeah, with like mixed incomes and standard of development, and one that might not be like what most people it pops up on and one that could just be kind of anywhere, and it will get the effect that it's like kind of becoming like that as like they level up, the Sims are getting more educated, they're getting more money, but what's going to happen is that it's going to be filled with these buildings that just don't look like they belong. Like they should be all everywhere and like he's so common, and like they just look too fancy. Like there shouldn't be so much of them, and they're going to be all over the place. Oh, and now I finally found like the level 5 2x2, and yeah, it looks a little weird though. Honestly, I don't hate it. Like it would be fine if I think this is the building that would be fine if it's like directly overlooking like a beach or something. Yeah, a lot of these are yeah, it's that sort of building. But it feels like if you've got but it's not the one where you should be having like a whole like tract of them. Oh, and I think that's a good spot for like a certain like break here, because now I gotta talk about tract housing.